We're talking about embroidering on t-shirts, and this is a little different than embroidering on other knit shirts because other knit shirts have a center placket with buttons, and that gives us a nice visual reference for both placement and straightness. But sometimes on t-shirts we feel like we're swimming around in the middle of the ocean with no good garment reference. So I'm going to show you how I like to get straightness and placement on t-shirts. Let's say we're going to embroider this design on this t-shirt. I can tell you that following the old two-finger rule, in which old-time embroiderers placed 2 fingers at the intersection of the collar seam and the shoulder seam to gauge the center of the design, we would be about 5 inches over from the center front, and I like to put my designs about 7.5 inches down to the center. Now sometimes ladies like theirs a little higher, so you may need to adjust accordingly. And of course on the sizing, the distance can be slightly farther on 2X and 3X shirts, but for this particular shirt, which is a size large, I'm about 5 inches over from the center front to the center of the design, and as I mentioned, 7.5 inches down from the shoulder seam. But I don't want to have to measure that each and every time, so I like to make a marking template. And for that you can use a sheet protector or some other clear plastic that is somewhat rigid, and I like to put this edge on my center front and the bottom edge at the center of the vertical measurement, because that lets me have a very straight edge, and I'll show you why that's important in just a moment. Then I trace the garment reference of the neckline and the shoulder right onto my plastic, and at the intersection of the center of the design I draw a little notch. Now I might want to draw another notch to the side for those larger sizes, but when I complete this I'll just cut out that notch and lay it on each shirt, and if I would like I can draw a line here or use tape to make sure that my embroidery will be applied straight. That way when I get that mark or that tape into the hoop, it should look straight as I load it into the machine. If that line looks straight, the embroidery will be straight. If the line looks crooked, the embroidery will be crooked. So that's my trick for getting embroidery straight on t-shirts. Now let's look at this t-shirt. Pretty easy to hoop this one straight, isn't it? Because it's got visual reference being the stripes. But what I want to show you about this shirt is that I have hooped it using a poly mesh stabilizer. And some people feel that this stabilizer is too light for t-shirts, but I love it because it keeps that drapey, comfortable feeling that we wear t-shirts for. Just be sure that it extends from all edges of your hoop, and it will give you proper support for a lightweight fabric like t-shirts. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that because t-shirts are a very lightweight material, it's easy for the high speed of the presser foot to push this fabric around. So I like to add a layer of water-soluble topping when I have small lettering or fine detail, because it helps counteract the action of the presser foot on the lightweight material.